I play. Baby, won't you come my way? Come my way.
What's up, friends? I'm J Maxwell. Welcome back to my channel. This is J Max Reacts. Today I'm watching the video by Does It Matter that says Little Mix behind the pop star Glitz and Glamour. Shout out to Rose for this recommendation. Let's see what gets said. Disorders, anxiety, depression. Oh no.
When I was at hospital and the doctors told me that I would actually die if I kept doing it. So I think my anorexia stemmed from my granddad passing away when I was 13. I was getting bullied quite badly at school. You don't hear a word, always talking, but you can't be heard. My mum and dad were arguing a lot, and I felt like there were so many things that I couldn't control. Yeah, controlling something. I felt like not eating was the one thing that I had control over and damaging my body. Listen to my own advice. It started from those things happening in my life, and then gradually I would sort of look in the mirror and, you know, I was never skinny enough. I started to have this sort of body dysmorphia where it was just never enough to just be who I was. Obviously, I became very small and my ribs were sticking out. I was very gaunt, and I used to wear a lot of baggy clothes to hide that. I've been alone when I'm surrounded by friends. How could this silence be so loud? That sort of anorexia voice for me, it sounds really weird, but to me I saw that as like the angel on my shoulder at first. Because to me, like, anorexia for me was control. And if I was controlling something, then I was winning. I think I went to hospital when I was about 16, and I was discharged when I was 18. The last time I went to the hospital was when I was going to audition for X Factor. And I was getting better, and they were going to discharge me anyway, and I went to the hospital and I said to the doctor, like, I've got an audition for X Factor. I really want to do it. And he said, are you sure you're ready for that? Because you're only just getting better, and I don't know if you'll be ready. And I said, like, if I get through this audition, that'll, like, sort of inspire me more to stop doing it, because I wanted to change my life and I wanted to be a singer. And I wouldn't have ever been able to achieve that had I stayed anorexic, really. You know, being famous still has a lot of downsides. Like, people constantly talk about the way I look. If I put a little bit of weight on it, people talk about it straight away, and it's pictured and there's unflattering photos. It could have been very easy for me to feel horrible about myself and then, you know, stop eating again. But I've learned how to deal with that in a different way. Invisible,
I think for the first 3 years of getting thrown into this crazy world, I was still kind of like working out where I kind of fit in. Like, it was a bit of a weird feeling, because I did feel, as I say, I did feel a bit invisible.
Wow.
Which member of Little Mix are you most like?
I'm more like Perry, because she's quite like bonkers and crazy, and she's really funny, and I think we'll get on like a house on fire. Jade. She's cheeky like me. And I'd say Jessie, because she's got a really cool, like, an edgy style. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. I didn't know why I felt like that. And I don't know, it just took me a bit of time to actually process it, and I think that what I spoke about, that was just the way I interpreted it, and it was the way I felt. I'm not gonna lie, the first 3 years of being in the group, I would look for it. I would search Leanne Thunberg.
Aww.
I would look through Twitter and I would search Leanne from Little Mix, the black girl Little Mix. I would literally put those in my search engines. And just to see the comments, like, oh, it's honestly, I regret doing that so much, but I mean, I'm here now and I just feel so much stronger, and so now I don't feel like that anymore. I don't do that anymore. Like, I don't look for it. I want to be someone to, like, she got through that. Like, she was that person, and now, honestly, I'm just so proud of who I am, and, like, it's such a good feeling.
That makes me think about, which band was it? That I'm thinking about. The way she cried about, like, not knowing her place. I think of, like, this happens in our groups, but, like, Aubrey, if you watch Making the Band, in the first season when they were making, or the season when they made their first album, where she didn't get no parts in the studio, and she was just crying her eyes out, like, I can go do Pretty Aubrey somewhere else. Or even like Dawn being called Trini, like that shit happens. It just isolates them or just diminishes them. But then, you know, here we are 10 plus years later, and out of Danity Kane, the ones you hear the most about are Aubrey and Dawn. But I want to say Normani even went through this with Harmony. Like, it's interesting being the one black one sometimes. It just is. Like, Aubrey wasn't the one black one, but like just that isolation, that picking out where you fit into a group, that seems to be a very common thing as well.
Please don't leave me on my own, because the second you leave that door, I'm going to have a panic attack.
Aww.
So when it first started happening to me, it was just so scary because I didn't know what was going on. Like, I was ringing doctors, I was ringing everybody, like, I'm dying. I've just had a heart attack and survived it. And then it got to the point where I was like, right, man, you go to the shop, right, and take your phone. And then as soon as you've been gone and I started to feel a bit funny, like, I'll ring you. And I did the same with Alex's mum. Like, it was Christmas time and she was like, I'm going to go walk the dog and I'll be gone for like 2 minutes. And then I'll take my phone, and if you need me, ring, and I can run back. And I was like, right, okay. And I'd try and stay as long as I could without ringing her. So my mum got me these little dolls, and I started painting them. I was literally like shaking like this, thinking, don't ring her, you're an adult, come on, you can do it. I don't know if it's come with being in the industry and knowing that people are constantly looking at me and constantly want a piece of me, or there might be a pap somewhere or something like that. I don't know what triggered it, but it's just happened. The reason I never wanted to speak about it before is because every time someone said, oh, I've got a bit of anxiety, or I have a bit of this, it would trigger it and then it would happen. It was almost like speaking about it made it kind of come out. It was like this devil I was terrified of. And then I thought, you can't live your life like that. How am I going to have a career? How am I going to get on stage and perform? How am I going to meet the fans? How am I going to do any of the stuff that I love doing if I don't leave the house? Sometimes when you're in this industry, you kind of have to be that actress sometimes. It does suck that you can't show your emotion 24/7 because you have to be on the camera, you have to be ready to do an interview. Like, you can be heartbroken and just want to get in bed and throw the quilt over your head and never come out for a week and eat ice cream and be miserable, but instead you have a performance to prepare for and interviews to do. At one point I thought my mum was going to have to send me somewhere because I was having these dark thoughts. I was thinking differently than the way I would. I'm a very positive, outgoing, bubbly, sunshine person. So when this happened, it was like from that to that. It's almost like I needed to be babysat for a long time. And I still struggle now. Like, I wouldn't be able to just go somewhere on my own, like get on the train and go somewhere on my own. I just can't do that anymore. My best friend Ellie/cousin, she moved in with me and it's obviously helped. And now she can go out with her friends and I'm cool. Like, I'm all right on my own. Even though a year and a half ago, I never thought I'd be in this position. I'm just buzzing that kind of overcome it.
I remember the doctor said to me, you're so lucky that you didn't take any more. It was like, because that would have been it.
Jess is in the middle. Then there's her elder sister Jade, elder brother Johnny, and then a younger brother Joe. I've more or less brought them up myself since they were younger, split with their dad.
As a kid, I just always wanted to be in front of the camera. I just loved entertaining people. It sounds bad, but when I was at school, there was no other way for me. There was no fallback. It was either I perform or I guess I'll be skinned for the rest of my life. The night we won X Factor, everyone was just literally on cloud 9. And I remember going back to the hotel room with Leanne, and I think I had about 101 inbox messages on my Facebook. And I remember clicking on it, and the first one that come up was from, I don't know who it was, some random man. And he was like, you are the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. You do not deserve to be in this girl band. How on earth were you ever put in this girl band? You deserve to die. And I remember thinking, How have I just won the X Factor and all I want to do is go home and just go back to being a barmaid? I just wanted to just go back to my normal life, and I just was like, oh, there's nothing I can do about this now. I'm in it. For 5 years, I was really suffering from depression, and I didn't want to talk about it because I was like, one, I felt embarrassed and I felt ashamed. And I thought, two, if I keep talking about this, I'm never going to get away from that. And I didn't want to be known as the fat ugly one from Little Mix. And I thought, if I keep talking about this, how is this ever going to go away, and how am I ever going to feel happy again? I didn't want to be on stage, and eventually my love for performing, and I just ended up hating it. I think I got used to people calling me fat because I was just like, okay, whatever. I'd seen it so much. It was when people started going in on like what my face looked like, when people would like, you know, make memes, and then people would chop my head off in group photos and like replace it with a monster or replace it with ET or a sloth, and it just consumed my whole life, every single part of me. Relationships, work, friendships, everything. Eating, I just would, I starved myself. And if I did eat, I hated myself. I punished myself, and I made sure that I didn't eat for like 4 days. Jessie has lost a lot of weight. They probably could have made a 5th member with everything that has been sucked out of her. That one from Little Mix looks like Miss Piggy from the Muppet.
Oh my
Shaved Jessie's head from Little Mix. She looks exactly like E.T. What's the fucking point? I've just starved myself for a week.
And what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, I don't understand. What in your psyche makes you think it's okay to just attack somebody for no reason? Like, it's unwarranted. You don't like how she looks or something like that? Move on. Like, I say that all the time. Like, negative comments are just unnecessary and unwarranted. If you don't like something, you can easily move away from it. You don't have to comment. Yeah, you have the right to, but it's still unnecessary. Hold on, y'all.
And I'm still getting called fat. So I could be the skinniest girl in the world, and this is never going to go away.
Costumes. Look at this. Excess material. And then look, everyone's going to think I've got rolls. And it's not rolls, it's just extra material.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yes, it is, look.
When I'd be on stage, if I'd see like people in the crowd like pointing at me or whispering, I think they would like saying horrible things about me.
Paranoia.
And I got anxiety.
Yeah.
I had panic attacks.
Did you nearly leave the band?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Well, shit is that I could not change my mindset. I couldn't make myself happy. And I remember thinking, I just need to make this go away. And it was the first time I thought, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm just gonna end this. And I just remember going to the kitchen, and I just took as many tablets as I could.
Oh,
and I just laid in bed for ages. And I just kept thinking, like, just let it happen, just hurry up, just let it happen, like. And then I remember my ex, who was with me at the time, I remember he woke up and he was like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? And I just kept saying, I just want to die. I just want to die. And he was like, why are you saying that for? Why are you saying that? And I was like, because I do. I just want it to go away. And he, like, was, like, trying to make me be sick in the bathroom. And then, yeah, and then the ambulance came. You don't ever, that sounds so bad to say, but you don't think about the people that you're going to leave behind. You just want the physical pain that you're feeling to stop.
Mm-hmm.
It got so bad to the point where I couldn't even bring myself to get out of bed in the morning, and I just stopped turning up for work. And obviously, being in the public eye, I couldn't get away from it. I was like, if I'm not seen with them as much, people won't have an opinion. But instead, it caused more of an opinion.
It did, yeah, I'm sure.
Where's Jessie? Why is she not with the girls? Couldn't hide. I couldn't just take time off and be sad. I just had to roll with it and get on with it. And that was what I really struggled with, like pretending to be happy. For me personally, I still feel a lot of pressure to look good all the time.
You got anxiety now?
Yeah, I hate it.
Here we
go. And I don't think I will ever be the same again. But what I do know is that I'm getting better.
It was the greatest time of my life. Like, I'm not even being dramatic.
Have you guys
guys seen a change in the way that you are treated as women in the music industry as well as a result of Me Too?
I'd like to think so. I think there's still a long way to go. I think sometimes, sometimes these big, powerful people in the industry still struggle to understand that we're four very strong, opinionated women who have a voice, and we're in control of our careers. And I think it takes a while for some people to realise that.
What is the one question that you never want to be asked again?
Do you write your own music? Because we say it a million times, but yet people still never believe us. Girl bands are, what do they call it? When they're like, oh, you're a guilty pleasure. Oh, yeah. I don't want to be someone's guilty bloody pleasure. We're very bloody talented, actually.
Okay. We get a lot more judgment than a boy band. Yeah. For like how we look, how we dress, just everything.
We're four normal girls. You know, we're going to live our lives. We're going to do whatever it is that we want to do. We're going to do what we want, And I think if people want to see us as role models just by being ourselves, and that's incredible. But if we make certain mistakes along the way, didn't copy, we didn't ask.
Like, we'll come out in leotards and get absolutely ripped for it. But yeah, I've seen so many other artists, solo artists, coming out in a leotard and nothing gets said about them.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Or like a guy like Jason Derulo takes his top off.
Love him. He'll rip his top off and everyone goes wild.
Yeah.
Like, it's just double standards for women.
There are people who consider you girls dress too sexy. Are you worried about being criticized?
No, not at all. If you don't like us, don't watch us.
Come on. That's a word right there.
What is with the paparazzi and the UK tabloids getting all up on you about how you appear at the airport? At LAX, can you explain why do you have to live your lives worried about who looks good, anybody, getting on or off a plane?
If I'm trying to please people, why do I have to do something that makes me unhappy, like wear loads of foundation to make my skin look flawless, when people are still going to say I look shit, and they're going to say why she's wearing too much makeup, so I may as well just be myself.
Take off from my makeup, cause I love what's under it. Rub off all your words, don't give up, I'm over it. Jiggle all this way, yeah, you know I love all of this. Finally love me naked.
Just stripping off to sell records. It's actually just using sex and sexuality to sell records. That's it. There's nothing else to this.
In that strip picture, if there was four guys posing with those words, they wouldn't have got any
Oh, absolutely not.
So it's just like, that's dumb stuff.
Women are very sexualised, I think.
Well, what is the one question you get tired of answering the most?
Are we friends? Yeah.
It can't all be rainbows, unicorns, and Dixie cups filled with chocolate. I'm sure when you guys throw down and there's an argument over something dumb, and it's always got to be about something stupid, because you guys don't, the 10 seconds I've known you guys, it seems like I can't imagine you guys fighting over anything major. But when you do argue, is it over the dumbest ass?
We don't argue, and no one bloody believes us.
No, there's got to be something.
Right, Amy, you've known us. How long now have you known us?
Amy, we'll get fight over. Come on, do some dirt, Amy.
No, they don't.
No, not it.
We never argue. I don't. It's so hard being in a girl group, like, because you constantly feel like you have to prove to people that you genuinely are friends, because I think there's like a stigma that comes with girl groups that they just don't get on and they hate each other.
Are you kicking Kerry out of the band?
Oh my god, does it look like we are? It's really annoying as well, because like now we are stronger than ever, like as friends, everything. So for them to write all of that stuff, it's like they couldn't have got it more. Yeah, it's just annoying.
You guys know things that family members don't know about each other?
Yeah. I mean, I think out of everyone, which is weird, like we trust each other the most. Yeah. And then probably like our mums. Yeah.
Oh, so each other, your moms. I like the hierarchy of this.
Yeah, our moms, best friends. Yeah.
What is the one question that you never want to be asked again, and why?
I was sick of getting asked, when is the wedding, when is the wedding? I'll get married when I'm bloody ready!
Why isn't Jessie wearing her engagement ring in Sydney?
That's
real.
That is real. Just came out with that. Jeez.
All right, and because everybody always wants to know who's dating who, I will run down the line. If you want to say who you're dating.
I don't want to talk about my bloody boyfriend, I'm sorry. And I think the campaigns before, it was mainly focused on stuff like that, and it was just like, oh, for God's sake. But it's so refreshing to be able to talk about things that matter, honestly. At the beginning, the word feminist, we didn't use it, and we were kind of told not to, actually, just in case it was too controversial. To be fair, we were really young. I don't think we really were as much clued up as we are now on things. Now it's kind of well, actually, we are feminists. I am. And I'm proud to say that.
no tune at all. And you guys know this one? What would be our favourite song on the album? What would you say, guys? Yeah? A new sound for us. I personally feel like this is the song we've always wanted to make. Yes, we're not serious. Tonight is only breathing better. Hell
yeah, the Atlanta 5 album was very heavily on, you know, women's rights and what it feels like to be a woman and our experiences in the industry.
When we was on the show on X Factor, we were told girl bands, they don't do well, like they just don't. And we were nearly not going to get through, but the producers didn't want to put us through because they were just saying like, what's the point? They're not gonna do like achieve anything. They're not gonna do well. They're a girl band. At the time, we didn't really think too much into it, but now we're like, gosh, that was really bad. Like, you can't just put all women in a box like that. I mean, we proved them wrong, right? We won the bloody show.
Was really good. And like I say often, I love girl groups and like the origin history. I love groups in general. Learning more about, you know, their origin, how they got started, and then kind of like watching the transitions of them either moving into solo careers or just making it and continuing to be groups. I think, you know, it is, you know, I feel like musical groups are in and of themselves an experiment. For most people and most labels, it's just to see what happens and who we can kind of break out of it. Or if we can develop, you know, 4 or 5 individuals from this collective. And then, you know, the ultimate like desire for groups would be, hey, all 5 of us are able to go do what we do individually, but then we can come back and be a collective that does great things. I still want to see a band do that. In this day and age, we have bands from the 90s and like the early 2000s who have done that and come back and they do reunions and stuff like that. But some of these more later groups like Little Mix and maybe Fifth Harmony or like Danity Kane or Day 26 is still together. And some other ones, it would be cool to see them actually phase back in successfully. But sometimes business and craziness gets into it. But the other things, the serious things that were discussed here, like eating disorders, mental health and stuff like that, that happens so often. Like I said in the that one piece about like Aubrey and Dawn, like the way they had to navigate being called different things and just the craziness of it all. The music industry for women in general is very, very horrible. It really is. You know, it's just bad. I don't really know what else to say about that, but this was a good one. I enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on it below. Comment, like, subscribe. Until next time.